A couple of years ago, my wife and I, while we were traveling, discovered one of the best little quiet hot spots on the Mississippi Gulf Coast that we've ever seen. It's got great restaurants, great places to sit out on the beach and have a drink, good lodging, beautiful main street with lots of art shops, and some fantastic inshore and nearshore saltwater fishing. We revisit that place on this week's show. It's going to be a lot of fun. Glad you're here because Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Hi everyone, as you can see, we're going saltwater fishing on this week's episode. This sport is really growing on me the more I learn about it and the more I get to fish out of the Mako 21 LTS. It is an unbelievable inshore and nearshore fishing machine, and we're going nearshore today on some artificial reefs. Now I'd like to bring you to one of my favorite coastal hotspots. This is Bay St. Louis. It's located a little west of Biloxi, Mississippi, right in the middle of the Gulf Coast. It is a quiet little town with great restaurants, great beaches, great lodging, and some of the best fishing the Gulf Coast has to offer. We're going to talk more about that while we're out fishing today, hopefully for some big speckled trout, taking you around your local region for your local fishing reports from our expert team of insider reporters. Right now, the Mako 21 LTS goes near shore, and we get you started at the FSN studios with your weekend planner.
It looks like this weekend will be a great time to be on the water with excellent game fish activity forecast for both days. Top evening hours are forecast to start around midnight, and the peak daytime activity is slated to begin at 11:41 a.m. on Saturday and 12:39 p.m. on Sunday. Look for the sun to rise at 6:53 and set at 8:07. And evenings will be dark with a new moon on Monday. Stay with us for freshwater and coastal fishing information from around the region. Plus, I'll return with Mr. Crappie Wally Marshall for this week's Ask the Pro question. We're coming right back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lew's, fueled by passion, driven by innovation. Feel the difference. Jean LaRue Bass Baits and Bobby Garland Crappie Baits, the leaders in soft plastic lures innovation. And Nitro Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
He's got it. Goodness, that's a trout too. This is my first cast. Wow, would you believe this? I've made one cast out there and I've already got one real nervous on my croaker. Welcome back everybody. He's got it. Goodness, that's a trout too. This is my first cast. All right, come in here, buddy. Nice fat one too. Got my Kale hook. And he's got it real good right in the corner of the mouth. There we go. Just one single hook, free floating a croaker out there, and I've got my first trout of the morning. All right, that'd be a good solid keeper if we were keeping them, which we're not. Back he goes. Thank you, buddy. Here's the cool thing about Bay St. Louis. Scattered all up and down the coastline here, the Conservation Department has put out these big concrete reefs. And this is the old concrete that's the remnants of Hurricane Katrina. It knocked down a bunch of bridges and concrete structures, and rather than just trash that stuff in a landfill somewhere, they drug it all out here on barges and made these artificial reefs. They're in about 8 feet of water, which is prime for a lot of these game fish. So we're sitting in 8 feet, casting right up on that concrete, and very first cast of the morning with my spinning rig right there, casted it up there and caught a nice trout. Off to a good start here. We'll fish some more reefs, see what else is going on out here today. Bay St. Louis fishing for you. Time for fishing reports for you.
Hey friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Sports Southwest Louisiana Fishing Report. I tell you what, just barely got out here in time to do your report. It's been raining for 2 days. I'm going to start off with John Falderman. He's fishing the Biloxi Marsh and Lake Pontchartrain. He is catching, over there, trout is 25 a person. He's catching his 100 almost every day. Down at Shell Beach, little Brett RDs. Brett's been going out and catching limits of reds and limits of trout. Over at Lafitte, Tofield Bourgeois has been taking his plane. He's been going over to the chandeliers. They've been wade fishing, catching some big old trout, mostly on top waters and some on plastics. I tell you what, you need to make a trip right now. One thing we're doing is we're throwing a hook that's got a little rattler on it, made by Rockport Rattler. It's called a Croaker Max. Whether you're using live shrimp, live croaker, live mullet, whatever you put on that hook, it rattles, and them speckled trout cannot stand it. Put it under a popping cork, and I tell you what, come on, funny feeling, it's good. So right now, I just want to say, I'd like to see you folks come down here to Calcasieu Lake. We got some openings. We got 6 or 8 guides that's available each and every day. So the next week, this is old Cajun Phil, with Captain Kevin, who's taking the day off, saying happy fishing. May God bless. We're going to see you folks next week. Bye-bye.
Easy, darling. Easy, darling. Swim right in that net. Thank you. Got him. All right, I got a fish on. That's a good trout. Oh yeah, look at this trout. Easy, darling. Easy, darling. Swim right in that net. Thank you. Wow. Look at this. That's a nice trout right there. Calm down, buddy. There's you a good Bay St. Louis trout right there. Look at the reef behind me. This is really something cool. Out here catching them on this artificial reef. And let me get this fish off of here and get him released. Just like that. All right. All right, let me explain something to you. I'm pulled up on the reef. I've got my Motor Guide XI5 trolling motor anchored in position on the down current side, but what I've got is cuts on either side where I've got current coming through. So you can see it's solid concrete here, and then just about 20 yards that way you've got one cut. And then just on the other side of me here, just on the end of that concrete, there's another cut, and that current is ripping through that cut. So what I'm doing is dipping myself up a little croaker, and these are small ones here. These are not big croakers. Using a single Kale hook, hooking him just in front of the tail, no weight, no popping cork, no nothing. And I'm throwing it up in that current, far as I can throw it, clicking my bailing gear, and then just basically keeping a tight line and feeling that bait as it washes through the current. And a big old trout hit it. That's a nice one right there. Let's get you fishing and lake reports while I figure out what's going to happen next.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is brought to you once again by Sun Defender. When you need relief from the relentless Texas sun, Sun Defender has you covered. It's not only a shade umbrella, but it's also a floating cooler that will go with you anywhere at the pool or on the lake. When you need that relief, Sun Defender has you covered. This week we're going to start at Lake Fork, where we have 2 great fishing opportunities. First, the largemouth bass. Smaller fish are schooling off main lake points in about 20 to 25 feet of water. You can throw your D-shad and your topwaters at those smaller fish, or throw past the school with a big deep diving crankbait. Get that down to about 15 feet or more and you'll catch the bigger bass. Catfish timbered points in about 20 feet of water. Prep the area with some bait prior to fishing, then use your standard prepared catfish baits on Lake Fork. Over at Lake Ray Hubbard, it's got a great sand bass bite going on. You'll want to look for the underwater levees on your electronics, and you'll see the schools of bait fish. The sand bass are not far away. You may want to wait a little while. Be ready with your topwaters and of course your slabs for these sandies. Be sure and check out Lone Star Lakes on Facebook to see some of the neat things we do when we're not on TV. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Sun Defender. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, there is a plethora of fishing options in Texas bays. The surf has had its own special places as well. Now, if the winds are light out of the southeast and water is green to the beach, hit the surf, even if it means missing great fishing in the bays. The surfs can be a very special place, whether wading in from the sand or from a boat anchored just seaward of the breakers. Now, when running the surf in a boat, keep an eye peeled for nervous bait, slicks, and birds. During the heat of the day, where there is plenty of grass and guts, like in West Matagorda Bay or the grassy shorelines of the Upper Laguna Madre, try a soft plastic on an offset hook and rig Carolina style or Lindy style. Offshore, the extended red snapper season on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in federal waters will close after Labor Day Monday. Take advantage of it while you can. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Motor Guide, because accuracy matters. Lowrance Electronics, celebrating 60 years of fish finding excellence. Find, navigate, dominate. And Excite Technologies, powering the world forward.
Got him. Holy cow, look at this trout. This is the biggest one of the day right here. I'm getting a bite. See my rod tip going? See my rod tip going? Got him. Fish on. All right. That's a good trout. That's what that is. Whoa, he took me under the boat. What a strong fish. Golly. I want my rod back. Good trout. Look at that big old trout. Man. All right, we've caught a big one. I've only been to Bay St. Louis one time and caught a lot of trout, but I haven't caught a big one like that one. Look at that. Got my kale hook right in the corner of his mouth, right in the right spot. Let me explain a little bit of something about fishing these reefs. There's definitely, I won't call it a trick, but there are some subtleties to it that can certainly help you catch more fish. There. There's a big old speck for you right there. That's what we came to Bay St. Louis to do. Mississippi, all kinds of good fishing in Mississippi. And that's a big old, that's a gator trout right there. Oh, and away he goes. Ready to go. So the subtleties about fishing these reefs are this. Captain Sonny Schindler is helping us out. He taught me a lot of what I've learned about these reefs. But they've got all that concrete, and the concrete goes underwater and tapers off, and you want to be feeling your way along the edge of the concrete. So what he said basically is, if you're not getting snagged and losing some hooks, then you're not fishing right. The technique is to keep that rod tip up high so that that croaker can't swim his way down in the cracks of those rocks. Keep him up a little high and feel your way along the rocks, and you're going to lose some. But when you bring it across a rock, you feel a little snag, you pull it loose, that's when you get a bite. So that's just a little trick, a little subtlety. Get up close to them, but don't throw right up in the thick stuff. Try to find that outside edge out here in about 8 or 9 feet of water. It's fishing report time from your local area.
Hey, this crazy August has had the weathermen scratching their heads and the fishermen scratching an itch. It's not common for us to be able to get out and fish as many long hours during any day in the month of August as we've been able to do the last couple of weeks, because our highs have been in the 70s and 80s. As a result of that, the fishing has been good, the catching has been good for a variety of species. Now, one technique that has always been good in the month of August in Oklahoma is fishing the bridge pillars. If you've never done that before, or if that's something you like to do, I want you to make sure you go do that in the next week to 10 days because it's really good right now. You'll catch white bass, you'll catch crappie, you'll catch spotted bass, and chances are good you're going to pick up a catfish or two and a largemouth doing the same thing. Now the rig I want you to try is a Bobby Garland double rig. Use a 2 or 3 inch slab slayer on top. 15 to 18 inches below that, put a little tiny jig head with a Bobby Garland itty bit swimmer on it. That gives you 2 very distinguishable sizes of baits, but puts them both along the concrete pillar, which is where those fish are feeding right now. Thing to keep track of is what depth you get that bite. Once you figure out the magical depth, you're going to catch everything at that depth and be able to repeat that on other pillars on that same bridge and other bridges in the same area. Great color choice this time of year is electric chicken. Great area to go if you have no idea what you want to do. Go to Lake Eufaula, try what they call the triangle, which is made up of highways 9, 9A, and 69. 69 is a big long highway bridge. The fishing can be really good in the month of August on Lake Eufaula. You can catch them there, but you can catch them on a lot of bridges, but you can't catch them if you don't go.
Fish on. Okay, we're hooked up again out here on the reef, and the current is really ripping out here, and I will tell you that the tide plays a huge factor. And the big deal about the tide is you just want it moving. You don't want it slack. Big trout. Got him. Holy cow, look at this trout. This is the biggest one of the day right here. And that's on my last croaker of the day. That was the last croaker I had in that live well. And I put it on there, and isn't that something how that works out? Biggest trout of the day hits it. Look at the size of that bad boy. Yeah. Doesn't have any spots on him. That's kind of a strange looking trout right there. Usually they got a bunch of spots on him, but that one doesn't. Man, that's a gator right there. That's a big one. We're gonna turn him back. Whoa, man. He was gone in a hurry. Holy cow. All right, I want to mention a couple of things here before we get to the last segment. First of all, we caught several species of fish here. We did catch a redfish. I want to show you just a quick shot of that, but wasn't a big one or anything, but just to show you that you can catch reds here. We caught a big black drum earlier. Lots and lots of trout. Just had a great morning on the reef. If you're coming here, 2 things. First of all, you've got to stay at Baytown Inn. It is the premier spot just off the beach. My great friend Nikki Moon runs that place, and she does it with the white glove. She is unbelievable, immaculate conditions, great rooms, kitchens, great continental breakfast, super pool right outside, all the wonderful restaurants up and down the main row, all the shops on Main Street, everything is in one location within walking distance of Baytown Inn. Contact them at the information on your screen, and if you want to book a guide trip, contact my good friend Sonny Schindler with Sure Thing Charters. He'll bring you out, catch some fish off these reefs, take you in the marsh, catch redfish, take you out on Cat Island for the Cat Island experience. Look that up on his website. You can see what that is. There's his contact information all on the screen there. What a great place Bay St. Louis is. It's growing on me. It's one of my favorite coastal destinations.
Be sure to join Fox Sports Outdoors again next week, Thursday at 5:30, or catch the repeat airing Saturday morning at 8. And you can always watch the latest episode in full HD on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Plus, catch up on all past episodes by clicking the archive button. And see lots of our how-to and product videos by selecting the how-to button. Join our online fishing community. Just click the like button on our Facebook page for access to daily posts with lots of fishing news, videos, and frequent giveaways. And stay up to date with all the latest fishing information and photos by following our Twitter feed. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than a boat, it's a tracker. Mercury Marine, go boldly. And Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro segment, where viewers get expert insights from professional insiders. This week's question comes from Rob, who asks, when does color matter the most when choosing a crappie rig? For the answer, we checked with crappie expert Wally Marshall.
You know, the other day I was out fishing, and you know, the crappie were just barely pulling at the bait, just barely pulling at it, and I was like missing them. And I said, man, it must be the color. I had on a pink and chartreuse. I was in dingy water, but I went back to my old time favorite, the blue and white, and it was an overcast day. As soon as I stuck that blue and white in there, I'm talking about bam, they were just hitting it a lot harder. So the next time you're out on the lake and you're not getting bit real hard, change your color and you'll have more success catching lots of crappie.
Thank you, Wally. If you have something to ask one of our insiders, simply visit our website and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now it's time to give away a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
We are back at the harbor at Bay St. Louis, and it's time right now to announce this week's winner in the Costa Catch of the Week contest. He is Spencer Phipps of Uvalde, Texas, showing off an 8.4-pound largemouth bass he caught at Lake McQueeney in Texas. Here's another big fish out of that same lake. Tyler Montgomery of San Antonio caught a 7.9 bass out of Lake Dunlap, which is connected to McQueeney. If you'd like a chance to be our next winner, send us your big fish photo by going to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com and clicking on the Costa Catch of the Week box on the right side of the homepage. Follow the instructions there to send in your photo. And if you'd like to see all of the Costa frame and lens styles, just go back to the front page of our website and click on the Costa logo. It's there you'll see all of the 580 polycarbonate and glass lenses and all the different colors, all the frame styles and colors that Costa has to offer, including the one I really like and I wore on this week's show. This one is called Prop. As far as the gear we used out there to catch those big trout, I had the perfect setup. This is the Lew's TP1 Speed Stick Inshore Rod Series. It's a 7-foot medium action rod built to catch redfish and speckled trout, flounder, all the inshore species, and I had it paired with the Lew's Mach 1 Speed Spool spinning reel. This is a matched setup that you couldn't ask for anything more. I had it spooled up with 10-pound fluorocarbon line to throw up on these reefs. As far as the hook and the weight, it couldn't be any simpler. That's a Kale hook used to catch speckled trout up and down all the coastlines. About 6 inches up the line is a small split shot. We used small live croakers and big live shrimp. You can see the size there in relation to my hand. That's the size that we use to catch all these big trout and a few reds and black drum as well. Stuff that matters this week comes in the form of a travel tip. If you get anywhere in this part of the Mississippi coastline, you've got to go about 5 minutes from here where we are at Bay St. Louis to the little town of Waveland, Mississippi. That was the epicenter of Hurricane Katrina. Most folks think it was New Orleans, but Waveland took the biggest brunt with a storm surge of over 30 feet, wind gust over 190 miles an hour. It leveled the entire town. There was one building left standing, the old school building. They rebuilt it into a fantastic museum, the Ground Zero Museum. My wife and I got a chance to tour it yesterday. You've got to check this out. It is a tribute, not what to Hurricane Katrina tore down, but to the resiliency and the human spirit of the folks that live in this area that built it back. Thanks for joining us from beautiful Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.